All right.
Hi. Hi, Zachary. I'm Karen Selinsky, and I am a graduate student in the School of Social Work here at East Carolina University. And I'm interested in knowing personal perspectives, particularly yours, on some general and I guess specific ways that we as social workers can be more sensitive, more aware, more educated on how to work with lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and questioning folks. So if I ask you in general, how if you were seeking services, let's say you were needing maybe specifically help with, let's say you're a light bill, which would be a social service, and you are coming to see me as your social services worker. Are there ways in that particular situation that you would want me to address you or treat you, or would you want me to be interested in your identity, or would that not be an issue?
So I think I would say if I were in that position and in that situation, I just want my lights. And I think the best thing I could say is, if I come in, don't assume that the person I live with is A, my partner, or B, my wife, just because I present male. I might be single, and if you say, oh, like, does your wife help you with the bills? Well, I'm not married, because maybe in my area I can't get married. Or maybe I can't get married because of my family. And on the other hand, if I do have a partner, just say partner. Because that's breaking the heteronormativity of like, well, this is a gentleman in front of me, and the gentleman must have a wife at home. Surely. That's how it's always been. Actually, no, that's not entirely historically true. But it's too assumptive in that situation to say, oh, does your wife, or to assume, that I'm married in any way. Because maybe I'm just kicking it on my own. And you assuming that I need help because of my spouse or whatever situation, just come at me in a non-heterosexual way that I'm not feeling like I have to out myself in that situation. Because I think when you're coming for someone in need, that's already a hard enough emotional situation, that the last thing I would want is somebody assuming I'm straight, but also just getting into my life, because I just need help with my life.
Right. Thank you for that clarification. So I know that when we go places, there are forms with our basic information. Are you finding that nowadays it's that there's more inclusion on forms rather than married, single, divorced?
So I can speak from some experience being on campus for so long. We have actually had nurses from the medical school go through our inclusivity training that we do at this office. And one of the things that we wanted to see changed was on the medical forms that appeared, where instead of putting legal name, we could have a preferred name. And that the sex box be different from the gender box, because those are two different things. Some folk can identify as female gendered, but be, born and labeled male. So seeing those forms that offer a little bit more variety of identity, we have actually been seeing some progression, at least on campus. Now, campuses are bubbles. They sort of embody the height of the things that we want most out of life. But once you step off campus and go to Vidant, you might not see the same inclusive treatment on a form, which for someone who doesn't like needles or blood, a hospital is a very scary place for me. And it also means I have to admit that I haven't been treating my body very well in the process. So if I go ahead and summon the courage to go there, and then I see that on the medical form or the social work form that my pronouns can't be acknowledged, and that maybe my name that I was given legally is not the name that I am living, that's going to be hard for me, because then I'm going to sense barriers in front of me in terms of getting the service that I need, because I'm seeing that this is not an inclusive zone, and I might need to take my business elsewhere, or take my business anywhere else,
Right.
rather than deal with a doctor that is limited in terms of their understandings of their patients and their record keepings for their patients. I'd rather just not. Because I'm like, I'm sorry, if you won't recognize who I am and get my needs right, then I'm not sure I need your services, which is probably mostly ignorant on my part, but I recognize that the health services at ECU can add a couple extra spots on a form and accomplish a lot more.
Right.
And that's something that a hospital at Vidant could do, and wouldn't cost them any extra, but they wouldn't, and they don't have it currently. So it's sort of a question as to what the problem actually is with putting that on the form. Because if it doesn't cost anything, then what's the problem? And of course, institutionally speaking, when you're someone who keeps records, you do have a lot of digital records that you have to input patient data in to keep online registration. But that's a matter of adding a couple extra data blocks in your registration page. It's not very hard at all. It's not hard at all. So the question really becomes, why wouldn't you? If somebody sees it and they don't know what the hell you're talking about, then great, that's not for them. But when you have someone who sees what are your preferred pronouns, and they know what that means, it's going to mean the world to them, because it's on that form and it's a service they want. They're going to keep going with that process.
Okay, thank you. So that, I like your response, and that makes me want to ask you, I guess, another question related to that. So, as counselors, let's say your problem wasn't related to your sexual identity or orientation, and maybe it's anxiety. And if you were coming into the office for counseling, would you want that door to be open? I know that